introduce ourselves. I'm Jazzy.
I'm Angel.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Mariah.
And the topic of the week is
Body shaming.
With the topic of the week being body shaming, we're going to share our own experiences.
So, like, when people have, like, called me, like, too skinny or, like, twig or, like, you need to, or, like, they said, like, oh, you need to eat more or you need to eat less or you're putting on too much weight, you're putting on, like, your bones are showing and stuff like that.
People used to do the same thing to me when I was little, like in 2017, when I was like 9 or 10, people used to say I was too skinny. But now it's the complete opposite because I weigh more, so people have something to say now.
Along with like both of that, like when I was younger, people used to call me like really, really skinny, really flat. People still do it because like even though I'm not like the most like I don't know, like I don't weigh the most, I guess, to other people, like I'm just really small to them.
Yeah. But like how did that make y'all feel?
It was honestly really annoying. I would never get super sad about it, but it's just always annoyed me all the time because it was always something people said.
Right, it was always something new that they had to say or like a new comment that they had to make.
Yeah. It's like, like it made me kind of sad because I felt like it made people look at me different and it made people like not like me as much. Like, and like it also like guys and everything, like it makes you feel like they're not gonna want you if you're like not how they want you to be.
And that's like how your insecurity starts to build.
Yeah,
exactly.
For me,
deleted so many photos.
Right. For me, it just like it affected like my eating. Like sometimes I would either like eat too less or like eat too much, and then it just kind of like brought down my weight a lot. Like I'll go from like 125, 126 pounds to like 116, 115, and then it would just go up and down, up and down. And like that's how like my insecurity started to build.
I haven't had my own experience with body shaming, but I have friends that went through it and like came to me to vent to, like when they was going through it. So I know it's like very hurtful or
it takes a toll on you just because if it doesn't just like affect your physical form, but it also affects your mental health.
Yeah.
And it wears you out.
And it can make you feel like less important or
not enough.
Yeah, like you're not enough for other people, and you think you're gonna get judged every time you're around somebody, but it shouldn't really affect you because like other people's opinion is not how you should feel about yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely like a stressful situation to like go through, and something that like not a lot of people like to deal with or go through because it's like it brings a lot on a person and it's just not. It's not a good thing.
Right. And like I was saying, it affects your mental health and like it kind of stops you from being yourself because if you like to dress a certain way or like, you know, it kind of like just brings you back and you start to like cover up like to the point where you don't want to show yourself out just because you feel that you are not enough or what your body type is not enough for society or it's not like society's like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I used to never, ever believe compliments. Every time someone would compliment me, I always thought they were lying or just trying to be nice or pity.
Yeah,
like,
pity,
I never,
take pity on me and stuff.
Exactly. Like, they just feel bad, so that's why they're complimenting me.
Yes, it's definitely a change, like, from being, like, younger and, like, getting made fun of more because like no one is built like curvy or whatever like when you're little, especially like when you're younger. So it's definitely like a hard change when you get older, then people start actually like calling you pretty, calling you this, calling you that. Like it's hard to accept it because that's like you're not used to it.
And like for me when I was like younger, it didn't really affect me as much because, you know, I was a kid, so I didn't really care what people thought. But now that I'm older, I kind of take it more to heart because, like I was saying, I kind of take it more to heart now just because I'm older. So, when I was little, it didn't really affect me. But now that I'm older, it kind of gets to me more just because it's like I don't know, I feel like my mind is just like, I don't know. And it just kind of makes me feel more insecure and stuff.
Yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from with, like, oh, like, maybe if someone called you skinny, like, back when you were younger, it's like, oh, they probably don't mean it. It's
right,
like,
I'm a kid,
exactly.
I don't know what I like.
Most people are skinny back then. Right. It's like, whatever, but if someone says that kind of thing now, it's like, you're taking, like, your actual time to, like, like you're taking actual time to make me feel bad when
Just to make yourself
when
feel
you're,
better.
You're older and you know how to think for yourself better, and you're trying to like
Right.
bring me down.
Exactly.
And like body shaming is like one of the biggest things that is like around right now, just because I don't know, I guess some people do it because they want to feel like they want to get their own validation, like, or like just to like, even like it starts to like deal to the point where you start comparing yourself to other people or like models on Instagram and stuff, and like that's not reality.
That is not.
Because a bunch of like models and pictures and all that, it's edited, it's not real.
Yeah.
So it just like you're like comparing yourself to something that's not real. So it's like of course you're not gonna feel like the way they look in those pictures, or you're gonna like be like, damn, I wish I looked like that, because it's not real.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, like it like changes how you what is it, like how you act with yourself. Like you're not acting like yourself, like you're trying to like live up to this expectation where it's like you don't need to, and you're trying to like act like somebody else who you're really not.
And you're like, why do I look like that? Why?
And that's like a big, like most teenagers go through that.
Right, not just like, it's not just girls, it's like boys too. It happens to both
it most
of
definitely
us.
happens to them.
And it's just something that you can't really control, because people at the end of the day, they're gonna have their own opinions and they're gonna say it even though like it's something that shouldn't be said.
Yeah.
Because you're commenting on somebody's appearance when like, who knows, you don't know what they could like be going through, or like if they have like a
Like
medical record
Or
and
like
stuff.
a fast metabolism.
Yeah.
How you gonna make fun of someone for being skinny when they can't control it?
Right. So I used to have this friend, and she's like super skinny, and people like make fun of her all the time and like tell her like, oh, you're a twig this, oh, you're so skinny, this and that. And like she would never say anything about it, but you could just tell it was getting to her.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of sad, because it's like you don't want to see none of your friends go through it, and that's why like.
Yeah, I have this one friend, and it's more like health issues, but it also like had an effect on her appearance because she's diabetic. So she went from like being like, oh, this regular looking kid, she got really skinny when she was first diagnosed. That most definitely had a toll on her, but other people like would say stuff, and then she got like bigger, so people also say stuff about that. But it's like, how are you gonna make fun of her appearance when you know that she's going through something that, oh, maybe not a lot of other people her age are going through? So it's like a struggle, and you're gonna like
Right, like
bring her down for it.
Right, like I was saying that like it affects your mental health, and when your mental health is like I was saying it, and it affects your mental health, and when your mental health is affected, it also makes you super sick, because like I know as a friend who has her experience, like people started commenting on her weight and on her appearance and stuff, to a point where she would make herself throw up and stuff.
Yeah.
And like when you start to do that and stuff, you get like very sick. So then at that point, you have to get like you have to go to a hospital, and you have to be like hooked up to IVs and stuff. And it's just not a fun experience. Like it's nothing nobody of us wants to go through. Like we're just trying to say like body shaming, and this is just off our own experience. Body shaming is not like, y'all shouldn't like, don't comment on people's appearance. If y'all have an opinion, keep it to yourselves. But don't go up to them and tell them, oh, you're looking a little big today, or like you need to eat, or this and that, because you never know how that's gonna affect the person.
Yeah.
And if you body shame people, like you should really stop, because it's not funny or nothing. Like it could actually hurt people's feelings and all of that.
Yeah, like roasting people or like making fun of people is so normalized. Like,
And it shouldn't be.
Cause
It's
there's a fine line between like joking around and then just like being completely disrespectful and out of line.
because it might not always be like malicious intents. Like they're trying to make like,
Right, like-
they're not trying to hurt your feelings, but it still does.
Right, like
'Cause they're jokes.
I've played around and stuff and
Yeah.
all that, and like,
But I'd
but
think
not
about
to
it
the
later.
not to the point where like I like come at somebody, cause like you can
Yeah.
tell when someone like mood just changes, cause it's like you're saying stuff and like that's not really funny. It's out of pocket. It's out of line. It shouldn't be said. We're just trying to say, if you're someone that body shames or like takes jokes too far, just maybe try and think before you like say something. Even if you're not trying to like hurt the person, just maybe like think
Be careful
through
what you're saying.
Right, because you never know how that's gonna affect the person. If you like body shame people because you think it's funny and because it uplifts you and stuff, it's like whatever you do is gonna come back to you regardless.
Yeah, and even if you think that like what you're saying at the time is like, oh, it's just a joke, they're not gonna think much of it. Like, try to think, even if you think that of the other person, try to think if someone said that to you, like, how would you feel in that moment and further on? Like, it might make you think for like a little while after that.
Especially if it's something that like that person has gone through like over and over again.
Yeah.
Just try to say it before you talk. Like, body shaming is not something cute. It's not funny. Nobody's gonna like you more because of it.
Yeah, and if you have friends that like have problems and everything, like you know they have problems with that, don't like make that something that you talk about a lot. Like maybe even if you're trying to say anything bad about them and you're saying something good about you, like you know it can make them feel bad.
Like, don't bring up their weight. Don't say, oh, like, you know, like your roles or stuff
Because
just like that.
Because if you're their friend, you should try to comfort them more than try to like make them
Bring them down.
bring them down, and you should uplift them.
Right, instead of just like making more comments, or like if you see like one of your friends like and somebody's like making fun of them, maybe try and help, because if you know that your friend has like been going through stuff and you see someone there like, you know, try to make fun of them, or like not even with bad intentions, just tell them like, oh, yo, chill, like, you know, it's not something funny.
Try not to bring up weight all the time, because every time you ask someone their weight, they might be like really insecure about it.
Right.
And this concludes the topic of the week.
And I just wanted to tell y'all that at the end of the day, what people say, it doesn't matter, it shouldn't matter, because at the end of the day, they're just words.
And join in next week for a new episode of
Girl Talk!